Good morning, everyone. I'm Rhonda Burkhart from HTC, and today we are going to be discussing the account change function within USAS. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me see if that might be better. All right. Okay. And of course, we are going to put this on our website. So it'd be under the HTC and the finance, and then the first drop down for the software links and training. And it's going to be under the training recordings. So that's where we put our WebEx recording links that go to our YouTube channel. And so we'll put it right at the top of the list since it's the latest and greatest right here. Also next week, next Wednesday, we're going to be having a webinar on the document store or document storage. And that's going to be the new module that will be replacing file archive. So it's very important. Anybody who accesses reports for document or for on the file archive will be either able to be there, or we'll also have a recording that will also save on HTC's website in case you're not able to be here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and see if I can set this up. There we go. All right, so we're discussing the, there we go, the account change function. And SSDT recently implemented a mass load or an import function to do this. So if you have lots of them, then you can do many at the same time. You can import them on a CSV spreadsheet. So that is at the end of this presentation, so stay tuned. All right, so there's several different ways that account change, they've got account change, merging, collapsing, and it allows you to take everything, all transactions, budget, invoicing, PO accounts, disbursement accounts. It can take it from one and move it to another account. So it works for both revenues and expenditures. You can do several at the same time. When we've done that, I know SSDT has done improvements to help speed the process along, but it can take a while. So I usually advise the people doing these to do them, number one, have another session open. Don't let that be your only session. And then also, so you can keep an eye on one and do other things. Also, if you can do it maybe during a lunch break or towards the end of the day when maybe you're doing something which doesn't tax the system so much, it'll get done quicker. Accounts must be involved, must be the same fund and STC, the same cash account basically. You have to do it only for the current open fiscal year. It preserves all the historical information, so only data in the current fiscal year will be changed from one account to another account. And then when you do this, your from account is going to be automatically marked as inactive, so nothing would be able to be posted to that in error. Account change has an advanced query option, similar to many of your other screens. It also has the view, edit, and delete buttons. The delete is usually used for clearing your screen when you have a lot of accounts on there and you're like, well, I'm all done with this. It's all processed. I just want it to clear my screen, get a clean slate. You can delete those off. Okay. Both revenue and expenditure accounts are on the same grid. And then you can do a drop down here for selecting the fiscal year. So you can have both of those. And then you can see there's a status, which I'm going to be talking about. Okay. Again, reiterating it's on the same cash account. And then the same SCC. So, the 0 to 899 is just going to go to the 0 cash account. And then for the 9000 series, those are going to go to the same SCC, but you can't change like, oh, I put some things in, 9022 and I wanted them to actually go to 9023. You can't do that through this. So it has to be the same cash account. So here's an example where it's the same fund, same SCC, same fund, same SCC. You're only changing the subject. And then another one would be changing the object. So this would be handy. For example, we had a lot of changes in the USAS manual this past year. And if you had to change your object code for that, you could use this for that purpose. Is if you had everything in the old object code and you wanted to change and update everything for the new object code, this could be a major time saver for you. So it's a great feature, I feel. So let's see. And it's located under Utilities Account Change. We're going to be doing an example after this. So I'm going to get through the whole presentation and then do an example of how this works. So you just hit the create on the, under utilities account change, you would select your fiscal year, and then you would start entering your from account and your to account. It also, an update from this is it actually has the, you would choose also your expenditure or revenue. So that is also an option. That's an update that they made. If you need a new expenditure account or a new revenue account created, you can do that on the fly right here. You don't have to go back to your core accounts, either your revenue tab or your expenditure tab. You can do that right here. Now, a big bonus for the CSV upload is you don't have to create that account before you do that CSV upload. It will do that as you process that through, and so it saves you that step, which is another time saver. So after you upload these accounts or create each one individually on the screen, you will select that or those accounts. You can do multiple at the same time. And then this apply button will light up. And then you would apply that. So you would only want to do the ones where your status is new. And then those will process through until it either could fail or it would complete. So, and then in the meantime, it's in process. And then while it's in that in between stage, you can hit the refresh because it can take some time. And, you'll see as things complete, you'll see those when they're completed, when those statuses change. All right. And so you're going to get a message indicating if it's in process or you can't do it. And then here's those statuses. So this one is new. That would be one that you would select. And then the apply button would light up and you could apply that and start that account change. And this is one that failed. There was an issue with this somewhere in the revenue account. There's one that completed, and then there's one that's in progress. So in progress, then you can't start a new one until this one's done. You can also check the status. One way is through that account change grid. The other is through your job scheduler grid. So you could go to the job scheduler, and then in the description, you would put in between the percent wildcards, you put account, and then you could see those, whether it's completed, running, or failed. All right, so there is a rule that is activated in the system, which can be disabled. So, and it's a warning, and it says, you know, your prior fiscal year must be closed to process an account change for the new fiscal year. So if you want to disable that, you can either go to the rule or you can ask us for assistance with that. It's just a warning so that it lets you know that your prior fiscal years is open. If you're doing a account change, which involves something related to the employer distribution, and once your account change has completed and everything is completed on that, then you would go into USPS here under your USAS integration, do your account sync. So if you're not going to do that day, it will process overnight. But if it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, I need to change this right now, and then we can do our employer distributions for Medicare or whatever it is. So if you need to do it that same day that you do the account change, then you would go into USPS and do that account sync. If it's another day, just leave it. It will sync overnight. They already automatically sync overnight. All right, so here's an example. And this one, we're going to be changing from OPU 101. Okay, and here's the budget that was already input. And then this amount, the 1,000 was expended. And then you've got another 100 that's encumbered on a PO. And that's 101. And then we're going to be, let's see. So here's a budget sum, and here's that 101 account. And you can see, you know, that's appropriated, what's been expended, and what's on the PO. We're going to be moving it to the 200 OPU. So you can see that is all blank. It's all zeros right now. Okay. So you can see you're moving from the 101 to the 200 OPU. All right. And so after that is done, when it's completed, then the 101 OPU that inactivates that account. So you can't put any amounts against that. So, you know, old habits die hard. So, you know, people get in the habit of using the same account and they won't be able to with this because it's automatically going to disable that account. And then it moves the amount. So, you know, you can see, I think one of these is the budgeted amount right here. So that moved it from the 101 OPU to the 200 OPU. The expenditure, it moved into the 200 OPU. And then the PO, it changed as well. So here we go. Here's the new bud sum here. And that's the old one. You can see that now it's all zeros. And the 200, it moved the budget amount, it moved the expended amount, and it moved the encumbered amount. It changed the PO, invoice, disbursement, and the budget. So it's a great one fell swoop. So here's an example of the PO where that got changed. And then it also works for the revenue account. Same thing. Going to do the same thing from 001 to 000. And here we go. There's an example of what was actually received. The 1655 here in the 001. And so this one already has 275 in it. So the 1655 is there. You can see on the RevLed, there's the total of the 1655. All right, so here's the before of what was received, and then there's the after. Now, as we discussed before, I want you to note that the prior year received did not change. That's going to stay in the old account, even though that one's disabled. So it's inactivated. So you'll want to remember this for your budgeting. That's very important when you want to refer back when you're budgeting and what did we spend last year. So we're going to talk about that. There is a report in the report manager called account change report. This is not included in your fiscal year end report bundle. I've asked SSDT to do that. It's one of their issues they've got, just saying that this, that it's the squeaky wheel, the squeaky wheel is going to get the grease. The more people who request that the account change report is included in the fiscal year and bundle, it's going to happen. But just in case, I'm going to make it a step on the fiscal year end checklist. So it would save you a step if you didn't have to do that. Also, it's nice to have this handy, as we said, at the end of the year, or when you're budgeting, so you can remember, oh yes, I changed this to that, and I'm budgeting. I need to look back at these old accounts to see what had been spent in the past. Crossing funds, that's something account change doesn't let you do. Crossing the cash account funds. So for situations such as that, like this, you can use budget adjustments to move the budget amount. You can do a fund-to-fund transfer if you need to do that. There's also under transactions, there's also the distributions and error corrections. So we've had a JIRA issue here. That's a major candidate for the third quarter of this year to replicate the classic process for fund change. So that's a nice little bright light on the horizon. Here's an example of a distribution and error correction. It's very similar to like a journal entry from your accounting. So this one you're allowed to change the SCCN. All right, and here is a before example of the cash summary, noting that the 9218 is going to go into the 9318. So you can see the 12.5 for the year on your receipt report. Okay, and then it listed those 9218. It's putting it in the 9318 here. And on your RevLed, that's noted as a DIFT. There's other receipts, but then there's the distribution where you can see that was taken out and now it's 0. So you've got the before and the 9218 and then the after. So it's taken out of the 9218. That 12.5 was taken out. So now that leaves it as a negative balance. So now your initial cash is the same as your fund balance. And then it moved it, because that was that 275 number, it moved that into the 9318. So that was using the distribution and error correction method. There's also a report for that, which also might be handy to have. So that's right there showing the move that was made between those accounts. All right, so this is the bright spot that they just implemented, which is one big reason why I wanted to have this webinar. And that is the import function. So you can have in a CSV format all your accounts that you want to change going from and to, and you would set it up. We have the template. Just send us a request for that, and we can send you that template. You've got your from account, your to account, your account type, and that you would actually spell out the revenue or expenditure just like it is here. And down below in the note, just capital R, revenue, capital E, and expenditure. You don't need to have the fiscal year because you can only make changes in the current open fiscal year. So that is on there though. And so you'd fill that out, and I only have one line. You'd fill out the whole thing out. And then you would go to the utilities up here, and then the account change in the drop down from utilities. And then you would import that. So in the top bar there, you've got that import. You would choose your CSV file and you'd load it. And then your whole grid would get filled with whatever is on your CSV. So when you process it this way, you will get one of those USAS load error reports, and it'll list only the errors. It won't list warnings. It'll just do that. But a bonus when you do it this way is you don't have to create all those new expenditure accounts or new revenue accounts. It will do that for you. All right. So just reminders about what we just talked about. There's that open rule, which can be disabled if you want, about the open prior year. If you have a USAS instance restarting, the account change job is in progress, it'll stop the account change job, and after your instance restarts, then it'll restart your account change job as well. And then also for the budgeting, very, very important, the prior year's history will not follow the new to account. It'll still be on the prior year, 2 years prior, 3 years prior, which a lot of people use for the budgeting. That's going to stay on the original account. So it's handy to have the account change report and the other one from distribution error correction handy when you're doing your budgeting. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go into our sample instance here. So we're going to go into utilities, and then account change is just the second one here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Account change. Okay. If you're going to create a single one, you can do it here. So we're currently in fiscal year 26. So that's there. There are other fiscal years there, but you want to make sure your fiscal year is correct. In the current open fiscal year, you can hit the create, and then there's a drop down here. That was an update that was done before that SSDT slideshow was done. So, and I just used theirs because I thought it was great. It showed all the statuses and different things at different states, whether it's, failed or new or completed. And I just thought that was great, and I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. I just added the last few slides. So you can choose which one you're going to do. I don't believe the cash one's available yet. It's in process. But you can do expenditure revenue right now. And then in the from account, we'll just say that we want to do, we'll just pick this first one here, the 112 from the 101. And we're just going to go to 200. So here I've got the same fund SCC. I'm just moving it to the OPU. I'm going to save that. That's going to populate it right on the grid there. The status is new. You're in the current fiscal year. So to make that go, you would just, so you can see the apply is shadowed here. You would just select the button or the box on the left. And now the apply button is, lit up. So now you can apply. So we can do that. You can see it started. going to let you know about that. And then you can hit this refresh and just find out when that's completed. And then it should also show up in the job scheduler here. Up, see, it's saying it's unknown. Okay, if we refresh that middle one. So, like I said in the screen shot in put an account. Okay, so if you put the account in the wildcards, it shows that. Now look, see, it's completed already. That was a nice fast one. I like it when they're fast. All right. So it's saying it failed. So the transaction failed. Let's see what it says. And so you can view it and see what it says. The account change failed. It's silently rolled back because it's been marked as a rollback only. So I'm not sure about that one. I'd probably send up a ticket to SSDT for that one. And then we're going to also do one with the import. Choose file. And then you can see I was working on my document store stuff earlier. Okay, let's see if this is the one. Okay. There we go. I think I did this one. Okay, so I'll show you which one I did. So here's the one that I'm loading up, the account change template. So we're going from 101 with the 02 IL to the 01 IL and then 03 IL to 04. So I wanted to do two so that you could see it. And then I also wanted to before we do this, I want to show you the account. Here. So one, two. All right. So we're doing basically 01, 02, 03, 04 IL. So I went ahead and I put in budgeted items in here. So you can see, so if 02 goes to 01, so you're going to have that $2,000 budgeted go in there, and that's going to become 3,000. Okay, so that's going to roll up. And then I have a 3 to 04, so that's going to, that 3,000 is going to roll down to mix with a 4,000 budget, and that's going to become 7,000. So we go, change here. We're going to import our chosen file. Okay, and it's this one. Okay, we're going to load that. Oh, what happened? Oh, you know what? Number one rule, save it as a CSV. Go ahead and quickly save that. Thought that was, I was probably because it's a template and I had instructions on it. And so I'm going to save it as 3 because I had a 2. Yeah. All right, so now it's saved as a CSV and it's number 3. So there we go. So that one is a CSV. So you can see over here, one was the worksheet and it says, I'm not going to allow you to do that. And so we're going to use the 3. That's their CSV. We'll load that. Okay, so it says 1 loaded and there's 1 error. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so here's a good one. So on here it says the to account must be active to create the account change request. So that was the one for the 2 to the 1. So All right, so let's close that out. But we got 3 to 4. So in case we wanted to do the other one as well, you'd go back, you'd reactivate it. Maybe you disabled it earlier. But now so you see this one has new in it. And so you'd mark that, just the new one, and then you would apply that. And it says it started. We're going to refresh. It's in progress is the status. And now it's completed. So if we go back to our account and our expenditure, and then 01 and 10, 1. Okay, so now you can see because, so this one was disabled. That was like my test the other day. So I just forgot to reactivate that one. So it didn't do anything with this because it had a problem because that one was inactive. But the other one, so this one you can see 03 to 04, it automatically marked it as false for active. It inactivated that account and then it rolled the budget amount into the new account. So again, this affects your budgeting. It'll affect your POs. It'll change the accounts on your POs. It'll change the accounts on your AP invoices. It will change the accounts on your disbursements. So it's a nice one fell swoop to changing all of that, and then it will inactivate the other account. So let's see. Well, I'm going to stop sharing right now and see if there's any other questions. Does anybody have any questions? Let's see. I think. All right, you can go ahead and unmute yourself if you have a question. And if not, we'll go ahead and stop the recording. And we're looking forward to seeing you on next Wednesday's Document Store webinar. So everybody have a great day, and thanks for joining us. We'll post
Rhonda,
this later on. Yes.
it's Jamie from Oak Hills.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, I have not completed all of the account changes yet with the
Okay.
USAS manual.
Right.
Would so I would probably I want to create a CSV to bring
Yeah.
in, and I'm just saying a code, and this is not right, but let's say I want to bring in all 221s
Mm-hmm.
and change them to 222s.
Yeah.
How would I go about doing that? Because it will
Okay.
cross
So,
over, obviously, multiple funds and special cost centers.
yeah. Um, let's see. I'm thinking you could do it with, yeah, if you're gonna go, we might have to work on that individually, but with this one, you would need to do the same fund and the same to the same SDC and same fund. It has to be in the same cash account. The other option is that distribution error correction. Let's go back to, so under transaction, there is a, oh, hang on. Let me move this over. I gotta get the right screen on here. I think I want to share that one. There we go. Okay. So under the transaction, there is the distribution error correction. Okay, so there's some here that have been done. I don't know what those were. This is a test database. So that looks like it's more recent. So these would be something more like, so these were done and those are different fund SECs. So that would be a way to do that It's not going to change everything, like all your history for the year for everything. This is just going to change your expenditure. So it's going to be going out of one into another. It's like a journal entry. So that would be a way to do that, but it won't change what happened in the past. But it is a way where you can move it. You can move what happened in the past to the correct account. And then going forward, um, if you have those POs established, you have to update those. But we were going through with several districts to change it, change the object, like if the object had changed it on the object code in USPS, and then that would follow through with the employer distribution. But for the things that have already been expended, you could use this error correction.
Okay.
Does that help?
It does. I might be in touch just once I dive into it.
Sure.
I've been punting it for
Right.
so long and I can't punt it much
Yeah.
longer. So,
Yeah. We do have an open ticket. Yes, we do.
yep.
So just follow up. Also, I'm out of the office next week, Thursday and Friday, at a conference in Dublin. But Tanya's available to assist, or I can assist before or after that time. So don't have anything really scheduled other than that conference. So, all right. Are there any other questions? Great question. All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. If you have any other questions about this or want individual assistance, feel free to reach out and ticket. We're always glad to help.
Yolanda.